Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Contact Lost. And we haven't been doing this for a while due to the holidays, and I forgot to play the intro. So I don't know if there's any point in doing it now. So I won't do it. I've made a decision on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome in the new year. Happy New Year to everyone. I know it's been already a couple of weeks, but yeah, it's been a nice start getting into recording again for us. I'm Joker. My guest today is Kjetil, captain of Team Norway. Welcome, my man.
Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure to have you on. And we're speaking with Kjetil because we got a new local team going on and we're playing some scrims. So now we'll be comparing our matrices, discussing differences, and comparing to results who had a grasp of what the outcome would be. Before we jump into that, a massive thank you to our sponsors, the Army Painter and Weyland-Yutani, as well as our community of patrons and YouTube members. If you like the content on the channel, consider supporting in one of these manners. It means a lot to us. Right, so to give you guys a little bit of a background, we played these games in the second half of December. Right after the data slate dropped, we've exchanged lists, we've paired, and then tried to play over the Christmas break. And surprisingly, we've actually had all of the games played out within the intended time period. I don't know about you, Kjetil, but I think that's like the first time I've actually had this happen. Even though I have a fair history of organizing scrims, I don't recall that happening ever.
There's always like that one game that never
Yeah,
gets scheduled,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. That's what it is. And but we've had them all played out here, and actually, the one of some of the latter games gave us some emotions with scores flying different directions. So that was fun to follow. But it's also something that we can discuss later on, dragging out is in time because yeah, we'll get to that. Um, but why don't you start us off giving a little bit of background around Team Norway as well this time round? So, and who did you actually put up against us? Because our group is fairly small. We've only got 10 people, so picking out 8 of them isn't exactly difficult in the sense that, well, our options are limited. Maybe let's put it that way.
Hmm.
What about your options? Were they also limited, or do you have a
Yeah,
big group
this
now?
particularly for this scrim, due to the holidays, it was a bit limited.
Hmm.
Because during the time period of the scrim, we had people traveling both throughout Norway to get to their families for the holidays. People like Jonathan were heading home to America to celebrate things there, and then so things became a little bit hectic. But thankfully, there are a lot of applicants for Team Norway this year. Thankfully,
Hmm.
and we also basically opened up our Discord server to more like the general public and stuff to have more ideas, more people with eyes on lists and all kind of stuff like that, right? So we had some good
Hmm.
friends of ours that are have been very interested in teams but haven't necessarily been exposed as much to it also
Okay.
get involved. And you know, all veterans and stuff as well. So this
Mm.
was kind of like a Team Norway and friends kind of thing for us, just
Okay.
because of the logistics didn't measure up to it. But I mean, by no means did we put up a weaker team than we would have normally had. I think,
Hmm.
but it was a good opportunity to also test out some of the newer applicants.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. That's exactly what those crimps are for, right?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
if you're talking about opening up, so was it in any way different in the years prior? Was it a more closed group, and at what point did that closed group form?
Yeah,
Was it different this year?
I wouldn't say it was a closed group in the sense of it was like a clique of people
Hmm.
that people couldn't get access to. However, one of the things that I have felt previously was that maybe the moment applications for Team Norway stopped, the doors sort of closed, and then people couldn't see behind the curtain what was happening, and so people
Hmm.
maybe didn't think that they could apply to the next years because it was such a closed group of people gaining the same experience. And so one of the sort of things I ran on as captain this year was that we should open up the server and be more public in a sense so that people can see what things are about, to promote
Hmm.
teams and to like sort of connect the little bit of fragmented communities that we have in Norway. And that's also been like one of our weaknesses before as well, is that we
Hmm.
have a lot of like good individual people in Norway that build interesting lists and have
Hmm.
experienced different lists, but they don't talk about it in like a public forum. That's one of the
Hmm.
things that this has really helped, because I feel like now we are a lot more solid on lists and meta coverage. um for example, like the scrims we've had now, there haven't been too many big surprises in the things we have been meeting. Things like Alpine has been like, okay, we know what the meta is here, right? And
Hmm.
we get some of the results that we expected to get in the scrims we've been having, and it kind of shows with our like more confident pairing plan, more confidence in the players making their matrices as well. So I think like overall, like openness has been very good for us as Team Norway, because there is no way that we will sit on some kind of secret sauce team comp that teams like
Hmm.
Poland, France, the US will ever necessarily be worried about, and that we don't necessarily also have the skill to execute it as well as some of those teams would. So therefore, like just being more open, more eyes is overall just better for us. Is at least
Hmm.
my
Hmm.
idea. If it pans out, we'll see. But so far, I believe it has been working.
Okay, so you're approaching this in a manner that you've got more to gain than to lose
Yeah,
going
exactly right.
public. Okay, cool. I like the fact that you use the word click. It brings memories of drama in the Polish community. So thank you for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Appreciate it. Okay, cool. So what about numbers? So how many people have you got applying for the team this year?
Oh, let me see. I actually have a thing right here. Let me get you the exact number. I believe the number is 22. 22 like playing applicants. Let me see. 21 playing applicants right now.
Okay.
um some of them are, they're there because they want to get involved, and they
Hmm.
have themselves said like, I don't think you should pick me, but I want to be involved to like learn the process and get the skills so that maybe next year I will be a valuable candidate to be picked.
Yeah, it's a journey for everyone, right? For
Yeah.
some people, it might be shorter, for some, it might be longer, but gotta make those first steps at some point.
Yeah, I mean, there have been some people that have genuinely impressed me a lot with how they've taken to teams and stuff. One of them participated in this scrim and was one of the interesting results. We can put it.
Okay.
Yep, and some of the people that have been part of the WTC before have truly like stepped up as well, because I think now they feel like, oh, the position isn't necessarily safe. I have to actually put in some effort to get some army
Hmm.
diversity, to put in good results, learn properly, learn maps and stuff like that, right? So
Hmm. Not on the roster
it's
by default.
yeah, it's gonna be hard to try and narrow down a final eight here, because there are so many constellations of people that I can pick from and still feel
Mhm.
confident that this is a good team.
Excellent. That's what you want, in a way, at least,
Hmm,
at
hmm.
least partially. Okay, let's get to the thick of it. I'm going to put your matrix on the screen just because it's less clicking than putting ours first. And why don't you say a little bit about the team comp that you decided to go for here? And I know that you had limited options because of people's availability, but still.
Faction wise, I don't think we were as limited as we could have been.
Ah, okay.
Because I think like a lot of people in Team Norway now have kind of embraced having a bit of faction diversity and being like baseline good at the game, as opposed to maybe being like very much a faction specialist, right? Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people have seen that many of us in Team Norway that play multiple factions generally always play them better once we go back to our like main faction, if you can call it that, because the
Mm-hmm.
diversity that we gain from playing the other factions, no, we understand the game state better. But like overall, our compare is kind of ish how we've thought about things before, because we have like this I at least have this idea in my head that we have like one very solid first defender that's basically always going to be our first defender. We have a floater second and third defender, and then we have like two take all comers that can go into like a scrummage type situation, and then we have like two, three, four lists that are where like two of them are ish take all comers, and then if we can manage to get away the predators early enough in the pairings, then they can like chase these. Um, and so that's kind of what we tried here. The Matrix is a little bit reserved in that regard, because I think some of the results that we got that were good
Mm-hmm.
probably will happen baseline. Maybe not to the extremes that they did, but like maybe some of these matchups could be like +2 and some of them could be -2 on like a general
Mm-hmm.
matrix wise thing. Um,
Yeah, that's sorry to jump in here. But
no, no,
that's
no.
my beef with estimating exact scores. I mean, I think that even due to just dice being dice, it's
Hmm.
very hard to do it reliably. And
Hmm.
if you've got a very close game, it might maybe impact the
Hmm.
coaching
But
decisions.
but but that's kind of like one of the things we have as a philosophy with this matrix is
Mm-hmm.
that we force the players, because this is a thing like we've had before we did this. Yeah, we had like the typical 1 to 5 scaling matrix of like good to bad, and one of the things we found was that people just putting like 3 3 3 3 3 everywhere, because they were like, yeah, it's okay, it's okay, and then they put like a 4 because like, yeah, I
Uh,
feel fine into this, right? And then
spoiler alert.
they don't actually, and they aren't actually fine into it. They're just like, yeah, I like playing into this, so it becomes more like a vibes based matrix. Whereas
Uh-huh.
when we put down the numbers here, um we force them to think about how many points can I actually get here. And we found that like when that happens, the matrix becomes more accurate, because they actually think how much can I score and how much will the opponent score, as opposed to like, yeah, this feels fine. So we estimate on numbers, but we pair based on the color, right? So
Okay.
matrix +/-2, like it is a range, right? We know that it'll
Mm-hmm.
go +1 -2 just based on dice variety alone, right? That's like a point or two here and
Yeah,
there.
yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of what we do, right? And then it's like, okay, if I get the good map, it's probably like for most of these, it's like if I get the good map, then maybe it's a +2. If I get a bad map, maybe it's like a -3 or impossible, right? So that's why we have the comments and stuff where we say like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is how it works here. Blah blah blah. Like most of these are fine, and then they can be like, I'm not very confident here, and then it's like I need this, and if I get this, I can raise the level of it.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
look at it that way before. The vibe pairings.
Hmm.
That's an interesting comment. I'll take that. That definitely a take away for me personally. So I'll comment on our team comp now because well, it's on the screen right now as well. So might as well. So had a little bit of a same but different approach. So our idea here was 4 pressure armies, 2 all-rounders, or sort of at least, and 2 more like maybe gunline armies that you could call, that could maybe play on the lighter tables. But the idea was something that I got from discussing the November Pyra with Dan, the Netherlands captain who won that event, of just trying to take maybe something of a different approach. Where usually I think people often go with defenders being these kind of gun line castles, taking away light boards and trying to score big on those kinds of tables. Whilst I wanted to try going with defenders that would actually prefer the melee oriented maps instead, and just try to double up on that. Whether it worked, well, we'll get to that. Although I'd have to retrace the pairing, I don't think I remember it that well.
I have
Uh,
it roughly here.
but yeah, I've had a lot of my mock pairings where I paired myself. But I don't think I have the final version of it.
I have the final one here for our matrix. Let me see. Can I paste the pictures in the chats? I cannot. Let's see.
Uh, no, I'm thinking about it.
Do you want me to pull it up? Because I have it here roughly.
Yeah, if you can.
Does that work? Maybe.
There we go. Oh,
Yeah,
I've got
so
quite a lot of scrims here at the bottom already. Nice, good stuff. Uh, yeah. So
I
yeah,
don't
so I
I don't
didn't.
have
I defended.
all of the attackers, but I know for a
Yeah,
fact
no, it's
Chaos Knight
okay.
is like our baseline first because it just works for us and it works for the Swedes.
Hmm.
We it is just like bottom rock solid. And then you attack with both T-Sons and Votan, I believe,
Votan, yeah, yep,
because those are the typical like anti-knight killer type things.
exactly.
Um,
That's what it was, and we defended with Grey Knights.
mm.
So I already contradicted what I just said by defending with Grey Knights rather than going with either World Eaters or Empress Children
Yeah, because
or any of
yeah, because
those type of armies.
we've also tried doing that, and it has worked very well. Like the going with like the World Eater first defender. Because one because people don't anticipate it, and then we still kind of get the good light boards at the end, anyways.
Mm.
But Grey Knight first defender kind of surprised us because it, at least from our experience, the Grey Knights are they're like an army that can very easily attack into a nasty matchup in the later stages and squirrel away like a 10, 11, 12 against like most things.
Hmm. Yeah, so that so on our end it was a similar kind of approach, but using those reasons to just get it out as a defender and maybe pull out
Hmm.
something that's a bit inconvenient for others. Because looking at the matrix, which I'll pull up later, I don't think there was any other army that could comfortably come out as the first defender and not get cornered with 2 armies that I wouldn't be comfortable playing against.
Hmm. Do you want me to show your matrix because I have it here on another tab as
Uh,
well?
oh, really? Well, that would make it a lot easier.
Here we go.
Ah, there we go. Okay. Well, thank you. So I think the colors are fairly easily t- easy to understand. Zero is a flip, so anything between like a 5 or 15. But everything else I think is pretty
Hmm.
self-explanatory. So you can see the Grey Knights player just playing on vibes to get around 10, 11 points.
Mm.
And that was yeah, that was the idea to defend with. I did play around with other defenders before we actually paired, but starting out with Grey Knights just turned out to be the safest maybe option.
Mm.
Uh, Although
So
obviously mock pairing, I don't see your estimates, right? When I
yeah,
say that.
exactly right. So you have to like reverse your own matrix, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you got something very wrong, then you're just reinforcing yourself in that trap.
Yeah. So
So it's a bit risky.
I have a question here because I have a philosophy that I've shared with the team using words that can't go on YouTube. But
Okay.
I've basically said that coin flips are not real. I don't
Uh-huh.
believe in the coin flip. If you think it's a coin flip, you don't know the matchup, is what I tell people.
Okay.
What do you think about that? Because like I know that like people say like it's a bit of a coin flip if I get this matchup and this table blah 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 blah. But I feel like in
Hmm.
teams you can control those variables so much, and that you don't necessarily have to go for those kind of flips, and therefore like the coin flips aren't real because they will always end up being the worst because there are some things you haven't thought there.
Uh, yeah, I mean that's one way to look at it. I feel like sometimes it's impossible to not think of certain matchups as being anything else than coin flips, or at least I always feel that way when you have like I don't know custodies and then something melee going into them. I mean, if the four ups are too much of them on the custody side, you
Mm.
always feel diced.
But it's
So
like if you play against something like Custodes, for example, because that was a matchup that happened, and you say like, okay, like Custodes is a coin flip for me because I need them to fail the four ups. Doesn't that mean it's a bad matchup you don't want?
I guess, yeah, if you put it that way, then you are right, sir.
Because like, what can you promise me into these Custodes, right? If you
Hmm.
keep bouncing four pluses, how much can you deny these Custodes their points? How much can you minimize them by things that are not shooting and relied upon with like, you know, throwing attacks at them? Like, do you have a source of like infinite grenades, things like melt the mines for guard, tank shocks, durable things you can hold them in combat with, things that do not need the opponent to roll dice? What can you promise me there? Is like the baseline for the matrix, and then you go look at the damage.
Hmm.
That's sort of how I view those matchups and how I've tried to like coach my players to think of those matchups.
Okay. Interesting, interesting. Something to think about for sure.
Hmm. I might be wrong, right? I might just be spewing like bullcrap, but you know, it feels right to me to think about that way, and I am the captain now.
Yeah, so your word is final, at least
Yes,
for your team.
yes. And then come August, they may decide to throw me off the plane on the way home. Fine.
It is what it is. Yeah, at that point.
Hmm. Um. But yeah,
Yes.
so first defender Grey Knights. Um.
Yep.
Why did you decide to pick the Marines there?
Well, I think that if you look at the first row where your Marines are situated, and actually, if anyone's listening to this now or later, let me know in the comments if your team has themselves in the columns and the opposition in the rows, because this is the first time I'm facing this. I joined this team at the beginning of this year, and I'm constantly struggling and arguing with the guys. Dude, why? Why have you made it this way? But yeah. So Anyway, if you look at our top row there with the Ultramarines,
Mm.
no one really wants to play this. So with the Grey Knights having a free there, I'm taking it every day because this just
Right.
opens up a lot of the pairings down the road.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
To be honest, I wasn't quite confident in that range for that matchup.
Mm.
But I trusted the Matrix, so to speak. Didn't want to overrule it with
Yeah,
my
I mean,
own
like
vibe.
once you get to the pairings, that's what you have to do, right? You just
Yeah,
can't.
exactly.
Like once you do that, you might as well just like throw the pairing out because then you're just doing it based on your
Yeah,
vibes.
why have guys populate the Matrix when you're just going to do things based on your own gut feeling, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't send a good message. Exactly. So, but yeah, it was one of the games that I was then a little bit concerned with. Um, but yeah, it did just open up a lot of the pairings. But what about you? Why not take Votan on an open table where the Zergs have to come towards the Chaos Knights and take a shooting contest against Thousand Suns with
Um,
all the tanks that fit in the list, and surprisingly a lot fit.
the answer is basically the Matrix. The Voltan had better matchups later down the line, and I figured that if the Voltan go into the Imperial Knights, it's fine to get a 9 as
Hmm.
long as we just take away this one because I assumed that the reds here were probably a darker shade of red than they were actually going to be. Um, if it ended
Fair.
up being on like T-Sun's table and stuff. So that's why I thought like, okay, a 14 versus a 15, basically the same score.
Hmm.
And then you the Voltron list can be handled later, basically, because we didn't have any like turbo melee where fight on death really mattered. So
Hmm.
so it's fine, right? That's basically the
Hmm.
thought process there.
Okay, fair enough. Uh, right. So, I don't know. Maybe jumping to. I don't know. We can cover scores at the end, maybe. But then we went into second enders. If you would be so kind to pull the.
Yep. I mean, scores are on the
There
same
you
page
go.
here.
Ah, there we go. So okay, maybe we can go with the scores. So Chaos Knights versus T-Suns was one that we're also quite interested in because we had the Votan player play the T-Suns guy actually, but on the same table.
Mm.
And well, when I asked him, "Are you feeling confident into Chaos Knights on their table after that game?" He wasn't that sure anymore. So that was that. Was the T-Suns the guys that played? They went to Sweden a couple of months back for a team event
Mm-hmm.
and had their own Chaos Knights butchered by a similar T-Suns list. Well, the differences were that now you have less stuff in Chaos Knights, but you had more of the same in T-Suns.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been working quite well in the few tests that we had against Knights. So yeah, that was like
Mm.
what we felt was went a little bit our way, maybe better,
Mm.
but we didn't get that much in terms of results as we had hoped for, as the
Yeah,
game
but
ended in a
but I mean,
10-10.
it blunted one of our highs, right? So that's a good result in and of itself. Um,
Fair, but it
what
was one of
but
our
but
highs as well.
but what one of the interesting things about that matchup, because I tell my players to record all their games so that we can review them as like a group later. And one of the
Hmm.
things we found was that there were, I think there were 3 opportunities throughout the game where if our Chaos Knight had just seen that and sort of like just basically plopped his male appendages on the table, he
Mm-hmm.
could have basically shot away a vortex beast and two predators, I believe it is, at like any of those situations, and then he could have just started like farming the scores. Instead, he was sort of like a bit too passive. Because that's one of the things about that Chaos Knight list. Like a lot of people think it is very simple to play, but if you disrespect things like the Sekatars in that T-Sons list and just let them do their thing, then you are very easily counterable. Because like the
Yeah.
Chaos Knight player will lose on his own movement by not pre-measuring every opportunity that the opponent can go to. So it is actually like a surprisingly technical list to play. So I mean, like fair play to Ian for picking it up like relatively early and still not falling more behind than he did against a list that is sort of like meant to predate on him.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, a lot of people always advertise knights as being, dumb
Mm-hmm.
to play, but no, it's not that dumb. You can't just put them on the table, rush forward, and bring in 20s. It doesn't work that way. So, yeah,
Yep.
good point. What was the Ultramarines versus Grey Knights? It did end in a 16-4 to the Ultramarines. Although the sentiment I received maybe was that well, some dice happened along the way, but
Mm.
a fair few of them could have been prevented. So a bit unfortunate for us. Two questions I got for you where we are actually. You mentioned that recording. How does that work for you guys? I mean, do you actually get to go through a lot of these games, or is
Yeah,
finding
yeah.
the time to sit
We
down an issue?
we actually have a surprising amount of regular activity in the Discord now. Like one of the things I've been joking with is that like the Team Norway Discord has sort of become people's third place, like a place between work and home, where they just hang
Hmm.
out and we talk Warhammer all day. So once people
Yeah,
go like,
cool.
okay, I had my match here. Do people want to like review it? And then like everyone in the hangout goes like, yeah, sure, promote the stream, and then we'll look at it, and then we go through it, right? And
Hmm.
that's been like almost like a fun group activity that we sit and do together. And I hope at least that it's like increasing the general skill level of everyone, because now we get to see in like a comfortable arena like, oh, this was a mistake, I could have done this. And then it's not like a didn't you do that, it's more like a oh, look at this, right?
Hmm.
So it becomes less of like a why were you -3 on that matrix on that thing, like blah 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 blah. And then we can instead go like, okay, let's try and identify the steps you took that weren't optimal, right? The things you did that maybe got you less score than you should have had. And then
Hmm.
we find those little things like that's that's why in like subsequent games that Ian has played, he has bodied some people he shouldn't body, like on
Okay.
his current like Warhammer career trajectory. Like that's been like
Hmm.
very fun to see.
That's cool. But so do you have like uh how do I put this? Does it have to have like someone more experienced participate in such a session for it to
Yeah,
like
so
make
so
sense, make it count?
yeah, so
Uh
for things like Ian's games, for example,
mhm,
our Eirik has been very active in like trying to show him like this is what I would do, because Eirik has been like our basically dedicated CK player ever since the last WTC essentially.
mhm,
And then like
okay.
a lot of people go like, well, I would maybe do this, blah blah blah. And then there's like always people that share things, and then they ask questions, we post screenshots, and then if people aren't there, then we can go like, hey, here's a clip of this situation, how would other people have moved? And then it becomes like a text discussion among people that are at work and stuff like that, right?
Mhm. Okay. Interesting. That sounds like a really cool concept. So well done for you guys to have that going.
Hmm.
Um, I don't recall what the other question. Okay. We can leave the other question to discussing like a summary of this. Okay, moving on. Second defender, you went with
The
us,
Custodies.
the Dodis, and so did we.
Yes.
So did we. Okay, yeah. So I think we had some people feeling somewhat confident into Custodes.
Hmm.
Yep, having some force in the Matrix. And into T-Sans. T-Sans was one I think the guys underestimated a little bit.
Yeah,
If you recall.
that list becomes very nasty. It's one that we saw. I think I saw it originally last summer during the Vice La Mega tournament, a five-man team
Mm-hmm.
tournament we participated in Jönköping, Sweden. Because that's when goats were the goat. Um,
Yeah, there
um,
was a
but
moment
but we
back then.
saw I can't remember who it was. I believe it's Martin. It was his name. One of the prominent Swedish Tisan players
Mm-hmm.
played that list to very good results. So the moment things got nerfed a bit, we sort of like had that in our back pocket, um, and it has been surprisingly effective. Um, it looks like a list that plays for tens, but it is a list that can chase for 20s. Like it bullies the board so hard. I think we looked at a thing like if that list played against like a Swedish Chaos Knight list like we had,
Mm-hmm.
um, the Chaos Knight player would shoot and kill maybe three Terminators if it was in the open. Then the Terminators would shoot back and basically half the big knight. Um,
Mm, I think
it
you're getting things mixed up a little bit because your T-Sans here didn't have any Terminators.
no, this was a 30 Terminator, wasn't it? Oh no,
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 this was
that was
the Big Bird list. Right.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
that's the new thing we have found
Chicken
because of all
farm.
the damage free stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
This list is also like it is so good. I don't know if I like this better than scintillating, but we want the demons for Chaos Knights. Um,
Yeah, I think that's one of the decisions you need to make because you can't really play Chaos Knights without the demons, right? And then you have a problem if you want to take Scintillating Legion as well.
yeah. Um, but yeah, no, like this is basically like playing magical Chaos Knights.
Mm-hmm.
So once we took away the T Suns, we basically we could send this into anything and it would be fine ish.
Yes, because our Custodians on the build that counters this.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you play Talons, then it changes the estimation, I think, quite significantly.
One of the things we found though, testing things out with Land Raiders and not having Land Raiders in Talons, was that it
Mm-hmm.
ultimately didn't matter that you were Talons for all that shooting coming through you. Um, the were almost irrelevant, except for when you sat in a Land Raider. So that's sort of how like we evolved to the three Land Raider list that our Custodes player ran, and I believe Team England also has come to like the same conclusion because that our Custodes list with those Land Raiders that becomes very special.
Yeah, but you only had two Land Raiders, and England this weekend, I think they took three, right? Just to
Yeah, we also took three at Alpine,
ah,
so like we
okay,
we we evolved along the way basically.
yeah. But you changed the detachment then away
No,
from Talons?
it was
No, stands.
still
Yeah,
towns, yeah. Because the biggest thing about having the Land Raiders with talons is the reactive move back into the Land Raider.
into
Because
yeah.
there are some maps where you can't put the Land Raider on the objective, But you can put the guard on the objective and then react them back in when they come for you.
Mm, fair enough. Right. So, yeah, our custodies into the chicken farm didn't end very well.
Hmm.
We had a 119. Although again, dice being a lot of the taking the blame. Maybe let me put it this way.
Yeah, there was. I observed one turn where he connected with a lot of birds and did a grand total of like 4 wounds through
Yeah,
3 combats. That probably what took it from a 15 to a 19 in a sense.
100%, 100%. Meanwhile, our World Eaters into your custodies was another drawish game, finishing in a 10-10, which I believe is a little below what I've been promised.
Hmm. Let's
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Third defenders, I believe we
Just
put.
judging on you two seem to have taken nits or put up nits,
I
and
believe
you look
we put out. Yes.
and we defended with Imperial Knights.
Yeah.
And what was it? I
Because you ran
think.
Spearhead here, right?
Yeah. The one with little guys benefiting from
Yeah.
-1
Yeah.
damage and
Yeah.
some sustained on the shooty guys. Yep, that is a list that we've been having pretty good results with,
Yep.
and I don't think it's something. It's any secret sauce or anything. So
No,
it is what it is.
it's just like a baseline good list, I think.
Yeah, exactly. A stable Imperial Knights build, right? Something
Yep.
that yeah, you can estimate somewhat reliably. It doesn't flip like
Yeah.
maybe big knights might.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the big night list is a lot more volatile, whereas this is like a very flat matrix, right? It's just a
yeah,
safe list to have.
exactly correct. So I think at this point it was just trying to get some good rejects and forgotten matchups as well,
Hmm.
and trying to get out of the. I don't know what the word in English for it is. I know what we call it in Polish, but just getting some good bearings out of that last scramble
Mm.
that you have, because it gets a little bit random at the very end, so you have to try and pilot into that.
Yep.
Um,
I mean that's
so
basically
yeah.
our pairing strategy is get the bads out first. And
Mm.
because if you get the bads out first, then things at the end kind of just sort themselves out.
Yeah, that's true, and that's something what we've been trying to achieve here as well, like taking those Marines out really early on, and then
Mm. Mm.
it did look more promising down the line, like I said earlier on.
Yep.
But yeah, felt like Knights into guard on the Knights table choice. Well, according to the table, should have been okay. In terms of like a small win there. Yeah, Ultramarines and Tyranids also was estimated as a small win by our player. And what else do we have? Votan into Imperial Knights was also quite confident, and we got that one
Yep.
as a big win for us. That gave us, and it was a game played early on, so it gave us some maybe breathing space.
Yep.
And then, last but not least, Children, Jeans to Out feels like a matchup that was just two factions that weren't really sitting well in the team composition, didn't really have
Yep.
good
Yep.
matrices. So,
Um,
yeah.
so I have a question. Um, with regards to this being an early result,
Mm-hmm.
How much do you think in the scrims that we do now? How much do you think getting like an early blowout changes how everyone plays? Because did that early blowout maybe make some of your players a little bit more relaxed that they should have been? Right? That's it's like an interesting thing to think about.
It is. It is. Yeah, and that was one of the questions I mentioned I wanted to ask later on. But it's something you brought up after we briefly discussed him right when it finished. I didn't really give it much thought earlier on, and I'd have to speak to the guys and actually see what their sentiment was. I didn't ask that question within the team.
Mm.
I think I should have. But yeah, when you see a result like that, but does it really differ to when it happens during an event? I mean, if you see a big 20, then you also might have your team try to play more safety, right?
Yeah, but if it's sort of like different when it happens during an event, because then it might happen at such a stage where you can't affect
Yeah,
it anymore, right?
yeah, you
Because
can't
some of
enter
the
a game.
timings have disappeared for the other armies, whereas now
True.
people can enter the game knowing like we are, plus 11 on the matrix, we are minus 9 on the matrix.
Yeah,
Um,
so it changes your macro plan, right? Right at the
yeah,
start, before you even get to the game. And okay, during an event, you might not have that opportunity. Starting a game, you already know how you want to play it, whether you want to try play it aggressively or you're going to play it safe, whatever happens, just to get. Yeah, just do not risk points, bring in stable result.
yeah. That's been my one of the things to go through when we do like a post pairing huddle. It's like, please
Hmm?
guys, the matrix looks fine. No whammies. Just please, please, no whammies.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good one. It's definitely something to think about. What about you guys? Did it affect your players went to the game? Did you like have the had given the order? Okay, guys, try to push whatever you can just to get back from that 1-0-20.
Yeah, I basically looked. I at least looked at our remaining matches and went like, okay, what can we do now? What can we do now? Who here can push? So I basically said like, as the results were coming in, I was like, I told because I think the order was our Tyranid game was the first one to finish, and it was fine. Matrix plus 1 from us. Yep. Then the Votan happened, and the CK went 10-10 on the same day. And so I go
Hmm.
like, okay, okay, what is happening? What is happening? Then I go like, um, to our Gene Stiller guy, you need to just get Matrix. Don't try anything there, because if that match blows out in either direction, it's too volatile. Right? Because that match, if you fuck up and you push for something, then um you will get 0. Right? We can't have another one of those. Just hold the matrix. Um, and then the Custodians happen. We told that to hold as well because we know that can blow out. And then I basically told our T-Sons player that you need to if we can collectively score, I think it was 12 in each game, we get a draw. So we're going to focus for the draw. That's going to be what happens. But if you get the chance to get me more points, then we have a win window.
Hmm.
And then it happened. We got 19. And so I basically told our final game, which was the Marine game. I basically told them, if you can get us 17 points, we win. If you can get us, I believe it was 3 points, we draw.
Yeah,
Um,
something like that.
go for the win. like just push as hard as you can, and
Yeah,
avoid
because
that
there's little
man push.
risk at that point.
Yeah, because like the risk is gone, right? And I think
Hmm.
telling him that like unleashed something in that man, because I have never seen him. I've never seen him go for that hard results before.
Okay,
So that
interesting.
then that was good.
Yeah, from our perspective was well almost like the opposite, right? We got that 20. It was everything was relaxed and more results coming in, close to matrix, so everything's drawish, so everything looked fine. Then that 19-1 came in, and it stopped looking that fine. It looked like you had the upper hand,
Mm.
especially since the Marine Grey Knights game was the last one left, which felt like it was something that maybe Grey Knights might struggle to get that drawish range. That game starts, I didn't have a chance to watch it, but I followed the Discord messages closely, and the guy writes, "Who picked this table for me?" And I'm like, "Oh, obviously there wasn't any table information for me to choose from, and then it was oh great, mate, just get four, okay, get 4 points." He did get four, so that was lucky. Lucky and lucky. Looking at how the game went and what I was told after the game, had some nice swings. Apparently, with like Calgary killing, I don't know, 8 or something uh, of Kraus squad or
Oof.
something along those lines on his own. That's it's a bit of an upswing,
Oof.
but like everything, right? It's a dice game; it can happen. Uh, that wasn't Calgar. It was the other guy. What's his name? Uriel.
Ah, Earl Ventress, yeah.
Yeah, so even less likely to pull it off than Calgar would have been. Uh, yeah, and that's how it ended. It ended in a draw. At
That 1 point. That 1 point.
one point, yeah. But what did look as smooth sailing towards a win turned into, yeah, scraping points for a draw. So
Mm.
not the ideal scenario,
Yeah.
but it's what it is. We
Mm.
are taking things away from these games, and that's what they're for. And yeah,
Yeah, like
next one.
one of the important lessons that I try to like really push into people here was just how much that 1 point matters, because that's been sort of like a curse for us. Is that we're always like 1 point short of a draw, 2 points short of a win, and that just keeps happening because people stop fighting for it. Right? They love to win,
Hmm.
but they don't hate to lose hard enough. Right? That's the
Hmm.
big thing. You need to hate losing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it also gives a bit more perspective, even if you're playing a really bad matchup or have something go very wrong at some point for you. And yeah, it easily shows that even if you get like two rather than zero, it's important. So
Yep.
it's just the extra incentive to play a game off and challenge yourself to think up of a way to maybe come back from a sticky situation rather than just throwing the towel and getting some time of your life back.
Exactly.
And then the same on the opposite end, right? Just to pushing for bigger scores. If you see an opportunity, just push, push, push.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, very important in team play. So I see we were the sixth screen for you. How many more have you lined up already?
Let's see. We are currently doing Japan, a French league team, the Unicorns.
Hmm.
We're doing Belgium. I think we just shared lists with Belgium. Then we're doing Cyprus again. Or no, Malta, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Malta, Cyprus. I think it's Cyprus we're doing. Some of these scrims that we've done aren't on the sheet because I think there's like two
Okay.
scrims that are missing here, basically.
Fair enough.
Because I couldn't update it, and then someone just like made a new document for it. Um, and then we are probably scrimming Slovakia again, but we might make that a 5-man because we might be going to the Alpine Con in Graz.
Mm-hmm.
It will be good to prepare for that. And then we are trying to scrim as much as possible, at least once a month, at least.
At least, yeah, yeah, yeah.
One of the interesting things that we are talking with doing with Ireland, I believe it was, is that we are trying to find a weekend um, where we have a day where we do like a genuine 1 day, 1 round, like real
Mm-hmm.
all games at the same time scrim. Um, which is obviously, it takes a bit logistically to get that to happen.
Yeah.
But it would be good to get at least one or two of those off.
I know that Team Germany are a big fan of doing them that way, so
Mm.
I want to reach out to them. Uh, Thinking about it for myself, it just sounds like an absolute nightmare. But maybe it's not that hard to pull off. I don't know.
Mm.
But yeah, it does kind of go against what we talked about, right? So you don't have the effort of seeing results come in one by one and then being able to act on them for later games. You're just in the thick of it, right? Like
Yep.
in an event. So definitely has an upside of playing a scrim that way. But actually, I didn't ask you perhaps a more important question. So, any particular takeaways from the scrim that we played against each other? I don't know about the team comp in terms of maybe not factions specifically, but archetypes or.
Yeah, I
Everything.
I basically one of the things I took away from that we experimented along the older lines for Alpine Cup because of
Mhm.
some player availability and testing out a pairing strategy at Alpine. Didn't really work. So the things we've been doing in the scrims have been working a lot better. Um, and
Mhm.
one of the things um, that was a major takeaway here was like exactly how much giving people the sense of purpose in what they are doing, in regards to like being the take all comer. I actually have a thing here because
Oh,
we
okay.
had like a
You
team
put it
meeting
back
about it.
on.
Yeah, it's just this easy thing here, right? Because the
Mhm.
comp here isn't relevant. The roles here are relevant.
Mhm.
Um, and that sort of team structure, regardless of like if you are a gun line or whatever, all those things, they are secondary to the role you're getting here. And then telling people,
Mhm.
I want you to build a list that does this. That makes people both build lists and play to that purpose.
Mhm.
um, and so I think that's like the biggest takeaway in this one was that's when I realized, like, wait, this is a thing. This is like a genuine thing. So I
Okay.
think we're really like narrowing down how we want to build comps and how we want to do pairings.
Mhm. Cool. Cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm constantly being challenged by our co-captain to look at teams that way as well. Maybe not that much, but more into the archetype thing. Like, this is a pressure
Mm,
army. How many of them are we taking? How are we basing the team comp off of that? And after I didn't really look at it that way earlier on. But yeah, it's also interesting. And then the faction doesn't really matter that much. Obviously, it has to be able to perform that role, right?
yeah,
But gives maybe a little bit more structure on the one hand and flexibility on the other as well. Really.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's that. But if you're so, what didn't work for you at Alpine? Then were you not able to like pair those lists into those specific matchups, roles? Don't really know
Yeah,
how to call
yeah,
it.
that's basically what happened,
Or,
because what we were looking at for
mhm,
Alpine was more, we were more constrained in the armies people could confidently play, and we were constrained in the sort of the availability of models for that,
mhm,
um, which we really shouldn't be. And then we also took like a wrong guess. Like, I think bringing Emperor's Children was a mistake on our end, because it didn't really fit in with the composition and the pairing. Because we always ended up having like one thing that like this kind of like hangs out. And then I also think that it being a couple of people's first big like 8-man team event,
mhm,
made them a little bit pressured, and maybe didn't perform as well as they might have been supposed to. Because some of the matrices were made a little bit phoned in, and people didn't fully appreciate maps and such. So we had like a couple of whammies that ended up cascading. Because then I go like, okay, this, like I like in one of the games, I heard like before I finished deploying my game, I heard like, hey, I fucked up. This might be a zero, and I'm like, but I haven't deployed yet. What? How? No, I don't believe you. And it was like, I'm just saying, this ain't what I
hey,
thought it
hey,
was.
man! The funniest thing just happened.
It's like, okay, I see what we're doing. Um, so then I went around and like I told people like, okay, it's early. How can you can do you have any opportunity to push here? Can you deploy more aggressively? And like, what kind of opportunities do we have? So I run around and try to do that. And like, okay, I'm gonna push, and that guy's gonna push, and then it's like, oh, it failed, and now we're getting like a zero on like multiple fronts, and it's like, whatever. So we had a couple of those,
Mhm.
um, and I just think that if we had stuck to the format we've been having in our scrims now, I think that would have solved a lot of those. Like, I think we would have definitely been able to jump up to the draw against Czechia and the win against um, Slovenia. Because I don't think we would win against France either way. But
Mhm.
we had some interesting matchups go our way there. We shows that, like, gods can bleed, apparently.
Nice. Okay. And have you got more 8v8 international events coming up as well?
Uh,
In Norway?
we we have already purchased our ticket for Eurofresh in March.
Hmm.
So I am very much looking forward to seeing if I am correct in my assumptions. In that, if we build our comp this way and if we pair this way, then we will have much better results. And I mean, it can't go worse than last year's Eurotrash, right?
No, you can only go up from some places.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Well, fingers crossed it does work out for you guys. Happy to play you again as well. At some point down the road, if you'll be looking for a screaming partner.
Absolutely.
And thanks very much for joining the conversation tonight.
It is always
So,
a pleasure.
yes, likewise. Thank you very much. And to everyone listening, if you like what we do, please subscribe, like, comment, etc., etc. Consider becoming a patron. If you already are, thank you very much. Same for YouTube members. And a massive thank you to our sponsors, Army Painter and Weyland-Yutani. I will play the outro, even if I haven't played the intro. So that'll be it. Enough for tonight. Thank you, everyone, and bye bye.
Bye.